just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your
Nestled deep in the Finger Lakes region of New York is the village of Watkins Glen, and since 1948, this small town has had a rich history of auto racing. Now, on the 249th birthday of the United States of America, we kick off the second half of the FMGTC season with a bang. Hi, hello, and happy Independence Day, race fans. It's another gorgeous afternoon in Watkins Glen, New York, as we welcome you to Watkins Glen International for stop number 7 of the 2025 and our 2003 FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship, the Firecracker at the Glen. Once again, welcome everybody to today's coverage of FMGTC Racing here on the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey Wright, and we can cue the Bon Jovi as we're officially halfway through the season. And what a venue to start the back 9 of the 2025 campaign, one of the most historic road racing facilities in the United States. A chaotic race is on tap for today at the 11-turn Watkins Glen on the 4th of July, and we're at the track for the second time this week after a great race a few days back at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park that saw Michael Lewis and Aaron Abel get their first ever wins on the North American Sim Racing Network. Taking a look at the point standings through the first half of the season, starting with GT Le Mans, and Mike Vincent Jr. continues to have a throttle hold over the points lead going into the back end of the 2025 campaign. He still has a 45-point lead over Aguirre Sato. Zachary Fitzwater falling down to third, 55 points behind the 78. Skylar Taylor and Riley Sampson round out the top 5. Riley Sampson a full race's worth of points behind Mike Vincent Jr. coming into this afternoon's race. Bradley Ream, Caleb Rose, Michael Lewis, Sebastian Palmer, and Owen Miles round out the top 10. You take a look at the drivers that are inside the top 10. Most of them do not have wins. It has been all about consistency for guys like Aguirre Sato and Zachary Fitzwater, Skylar Taylor, and Sampson. But for Mike Vincent Jr., those 2 wins back-to-back to start the season have put him really ahead, but he has faltered a little bit. He did have a really good run at Most Sport a couple of days ago. We'll see what that 78 car is able to do, starting deep in the field here this afternoon in 15th for GT Le Mans. Then over in GT Daytona, we have a tie for the points lead after the 6th race of the season at Most Sport. Dylan Matthews and Aaron Abel tied at 460 points apiece. They each have a 30-point lead over Brooke Paquette coming into this afternoon. Colin Bayer and Esteban Lasser round out the top 5. Logan Alexander, Matt Lagasse, Kasumi Takashi, Nathan Buchanan, and Daniel Bouchard round out the top 10 for GT Daytona. Dylan Matthews in the 026 machine will start midway through the field in 14th. Further back will be Aaron Abel. He'll be starting on the final row all the way back in 20th, next to Alexander Rowe in the 88 car, where the 98 car will start. Watkins Glen has been the home to plenty of memorable moments across the near 80 years this town has hosted racing. Last year, we saw 2 drivers get their first ever wins in Grand Touring cars, one of which was his first win ever for Jaden Russell in GT Le Mans. But don't let that confuse you that the Glen is a rookie's paradise. This is a fast and technical track here at Watkins Glen that is very difficult to master. The Yeses, the Boot, and Taco Bell Turn 11 are some of the most exciting points of the track, and the length of the race alone makes the Firecracker at the Glen the longest race on the calendar, aside from the Daytona 2.4, We'll be racing 235 miles here this afternoon at Watkins Glen, but it's a perfect summer afternoon here in New York, and it's that time of the broadcast again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get down trackside, get the most famous words in motorsport to kick off the Firecracker at the Glen.
Drivers, start your engines.
The engines roar to life on the front stretch here at Watkins Glen, and we are just moments away from dropping the green flag for today's 68-lap contest. Roberto Crown Jr. sits on the pole for GT Le Mans. Michael Lewis sits to his outside looking for his second straight win. He won a couple of days ago at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in that number 56 car. Caleb Rose looks for his second win of 2025. Your Mexico City winner starts to the inside of your Denver winner, Justin Williams, another top 10 start for the 86 car. And back in row 3, Nathan Stapleton looks for his first ever win in a Grand Touring car. He starts next to that 59 car, your Papyrus winner of Owen Miles, to round out the top 6. Back in here for GT Daytona, you saw Aaron Abel's car for a brief moment. They're led to green by the 60 machine. The New Jerseyan of Matt Lagasse will start on the pole position. Daniel Bouchard looks for win number 3 of 2025 in the 8 machine alongside the 60. Igor Barreto and Nathan Buchanan start in row 2. And Connor Monaco and Tatiana Nagora make up the 3rd. The field goes into the carousel for the opening time today. We take a look at the track itself. It's an 11-turn facility with a little bit of everything, which is one of the reasons why Watkins Glen is so darn perfect, starting off with the downhill 90-degree corner in turn 1, affectionately known as the 90. Then the drivers will scoot uphill through the S's and onto the long and fast backstretch. A little bit of a mini Mulsanne straight that darts into the downhill carousel. Then comes the most treacherous part of the course, which the field is through right now. The boot section, starting with a sharp turn 6 and a switchback turn 7, aka the toe. And connecting through the short chute right through here. Onto the heel in turn 8. Back up the hill and re-entering the NASCAR circuit before the final and most dangerous part of the track, Taco Bell turn 11, where the cars will bang and bong off the safer barrier all afternoon long, completing all 3.5 miles with a single lap here at the Glen. It's a 68-lap race around this 3.5 mile facility. We're going to see 2 to 3 pit stops here this afternoon. Set to be a blast here from the Glen. The pace car will go into the pit area, and happy birthday, America! The Firecracker at the Glen is green! And it's Michael Lewis being the first one to jump on the gas on the outside lane as everybody will make it through the 90, nice and orderly. Up through the S's, they will scoot on. It's Lewis, the first one up, with Rose right behind him, and Owen Miles giving chase in the 59. 3 previous winners on the season will lead this field of 42 strong down the back straightaway for the opening time. Meanwhile, it's a little bit of a shuffle back in there for GT Daytona. Here's Caleb Rose at the back end of the 56 as they go through the carousel. 3 wide, going through the corner, and Justin Williams is upside down into the pole sitter of Igor Barreto. Rather, that's Roberto Crown Jr. Williams continuing to flip horrendously in the 86 car. Goodness gracious, a horrifying accident on the opening lap. And now another big stack up in here. That's Igor Barreto, this time actually in the 14. Dylan Matthews caught up as well, along with the 20 of Sebastian Palmer. And Aaron Abel also caught up, the 2 points leaders for GT Daytona, nearly taking each other out. Brooke Paquette was in that as well, and an eventful opening lap of the Firecracker at the Glen. We're not even through Taco Bell turn 11 for the opening time here. Michael Lewis will lead lap number 1. We'll take a look at everybody. Logan Williams will pancake the safer barrier off of the corner. And I believe that should be everybody. We had another crash back in here as Barreto in the 14 will hit the wall. Same thing with the 20 of Sebastian Palmer. Ryan Durrani was caught up in that mess. Looks like Colin Bear was in it. And that all started with Justin Williams having a wild, wild ride. onto the back straightaway, and Roberto Crown Jr., we had a big stack up back in here. Durrani ran right into the attenuator. So a lot of banged up sheet metal on the opening lap, and here we go, battle for the race lead in GT Le Mans. Michael Lewis under fire from Caleb Rose, as Rose is right on the back end of that Jaguar, going through the toe, through the sole. The field rumbles, going towards turn number 8. Rose down to the low side. They were in that 5 car. Rose trying to make that outside lane work as a transition back onto the stock car course. Of course, we saw a little bit of smoke back in there, and Rosie will go off the track just a little bit. A little bit of contact there between Rose and Miles. It's 5 cars under a blanket for GT Le Mans. They're all ahead of Aguirre Sato, who fell back a lot in car number 49. We finally take a look and see what happened. That all got started with Justin Williams. Got turned by Roberto Crown Jr., and that is probably one of the most violent crashes we have seen in some time here in the FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship. Dylan Matthews down the pit lane in the 26. That will give Aaron Abel the points lead as of right now, the way that things stand. And back in here for GT Daytona, trying to see where Matt Lagasse is. He is in second along with Nathan Buchanan. And wouldn't this be fitting? You know, for the Canada Day Classic, we had an American win the race. Wouldn't it be fitting if we had a Canadian win the Firecracker at the Glen? Daniel Bouchard in good shape right now in car number 8. Of course, still a long way to go in this race, and seen a lot of sheet metal banged up in the opening 3.5 miles. I don't even think we made it 3.5 miles. More like the opening 1.75 miles here at Watkins Glen. But Caleb Rose has gotten around Michael Lewis for the top spot. Lewis will file back in there in car number 56. Caleb Rose to the race lead in the 5 car. He's looking for his second win of the season, or the season and the week as well. One of the only road course for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series at the Papyrus Motorsports Park a couple of days ago. He's whipping his way here onto the back straightaway. Michael Lewis also looking for his second win this week. Won a couple of days ago at Mosport, and he will be racing against Campbell Marsh for the 2025 Duncan Week of Speed In-Season Tournament Championship. Those two will be racing against one another tomorrow afternoon at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. More on that later on, but it is indeed a 5-car breakaway for this top spot. John Andrews caboosing this quintet up in here. Zachary Fitzwater up to 4th. Owen Miles was able to survive the opening lap chaos. He's up to 3rd, and now we're already going to see some lap traffic. That's Brooke Paquette in the 31. Dylan Matthews back on track in the 26, but she has got a long way to go to catch up to the 98 of Aaron Abel, who's deep in the field right now in car number 98. Started this race all the way back in 20th, like we said in the pre-race show, and that may have both helped him and hurt him just a little bit. Knocked out of the race so far are 6 drivers. 5 of them with an accident, as Palmer will go wide through the corner underneath of Blake Beauville. Beauville overshoots the corner, and he'll get into the outside wall. We'll keep that ABC Supply Viper straight. A little bit of 3-wide action nearly down the corner. Going into the 90, Michael Brown will force the issue. He's going to get on the rumble strips just a little bit. Didn't quite hit the apex on that corner, and he'll lose a spot to Alexander Rowe in the 88. Now everybody on top of one another as they go through the S's, but Roberto Crown Jr. had a fuel leak in the 33. Igor Barreto, Ryan Durrani, and Colin Bear have all pulled their cars behind the wall for GT Daytona. Justin Williams and Riley Sampson, 41st and 42nd, and into the outside wall, the inside wall, and hard and upside down. Aaron Abel got pinched there by Palmer, and the 98 car destroyed on lap number 5. Oh, Alex Lozano's got to be careful going through the accident scene, and a hellacious crash for Aaron Abel, who was looking to make it 2 wins in a row. We saw that last year with Michelle Gavinou and Bradley Ream. It was a multi-car incident, but you're going to take a look at the replay there. Palmer just pinching him at the worst possible point on the track and into that wall that just juts out at a horrible angle that you don't want to hit. Aaron Abel unfortunately ran head-on into that wall, and fortunately he is okay. Goodness gracious. Like we said, this race is going to be chaotic. And Dylan Matthews is still in this. As of right now, she's pretty much just running qualifying laps at this point. Well, where she is on the racetrack, battle for the GTLM lead, heating back up as Michael Lewis saying, you know what, I know that the world is pretty much falling down around us, but I'm going to try to go for the race lead once again, and he's going to force the issue going through the toe. What a move there from Lewis, trying to copy and paste a similar move that Caleb Rose made at Mosport a couple of days ago. Of course, instead of trying to pass 4 cars in a single corner, he's just trying to get around 1 car, the leader, but Rose will hold on. He'll go and block the outside lane of the 56. So Aaron Abel will join the other cars in the garage area. Everybody will go on here through the front straightaway. And now, speaking of Bradley Ream and Skylar Taylor, those two have gotten into an accident, and based off of the damage from Bradley Ream's car, I think it's safe to say that he ran into that same spot that Aaron Abel did. We'll see it on the replay there. Tough break for Bradley Ream. I believe that is the 3rd consecutive week that 40 car has crashed out of an event. It is, no, looks like he went off in the J.D. McDuffie corner, entering the carousel. It looks like that was where Ream and Skylar Taylor's race will end here, 7 laps into the contest. Back in here for GT Daytona. Still Daniel Bouchard in that 8 machine, who's got about a 10 car lengths lead over Matt Lagasse, who's trying to get around the 0-2 of Dano Georgi. He'll power down to the inside of that 0-2. It's really weird how some of these cars, we see it a lot with Logan Williams, but again, look, I don't know what it is with some of these GTLM cars. They're a lot slower than some of their GT Daytona counterparts. But Daniel's really nailed the setup over these last couple of weeks, these last couple of months, I should say. And this has been a really big breakout year for Daniel Bouchard as he nearly runs into the back of Reggie Fogelman and completely puts that point into the tire shredder. Kasumi Takashi also down the pit lane. I don't know if there was an issue on the 46 or not. Trying to see if there's any damage on the back end of the 46. Doesn't look like that there is. But again, Daniel Bouchard this year has been nothing short of a breakout star. He's got Matt Lagasse all on the back end of that Coke Zero number 8 car. Lagasse will peek down to the inside, going into the carousel. The 2 leaders for GT Daytona side by side. Lagasse washing up the corner just a little bit, but the USA car out in front for a brief moment, but here comes Bouchard down to the low side. The American versus the Canadian, and Lagasse trying to bring the Stars and Stripes to victory lane for the first time in his NASRN career. Wouldn't today be a special day to do that here on the 4th of July? Really good battle for this top spot in GT Daytona. Back in GT Le Mans, Caleb Rose continues to lead as of right now. Bouchard has the inside part through the track, going through the corner that time around. Lagasse continuing to fight a little bit hard. He wheel hopped it a lot, going through turn 10, through turn 11. Bouchard up on the rumble strips, but he's able to hit his apex. Here comes Legacy, the two side by side for the top spot. And Bouchard will win that battle here in the 8 cars. We go back up to the front. Still a 5-car breakaway, but everybody else starting to claw in just a little bit. That lead for the top drivers was up to about 5 or 6 seconds at one point, but Aguirre Sato, Michelle Gavinu, and Bryce Egan starting to dig into this leading quintet up in here for the most part. Everybody's been on top of one another like a PB&J sandwich. Owen Miles darting to the inside of the 56 of Lewis. Can he take that spot away from that Jaguar? Lewis will have the inside track through the next pair of corners. I think Lewis might have a case. Nope. Owen Miles will get by. He does not wheel hop it through the corner, interestingly enough. And Owen Miles up to P2 in car number 59, but everybody's still trying to chase down Caleb Rose. He's been a man on a mission over these last couple of weeks. Of course, you remember him winning in Mexico City. Then a couple of days ago at Mosport, it looked like that he had the race in the bag, but wrecked out along with, trying to remember if it was Nathan Buchanan. Actually, no, it was Alexander Rowe, who he was fighting with. Got wheel hopped into the final corner and, well, unfortunately wrecked out of the race. But here he is, once again, another top 5 start. Started this race in 4th, was made his way up to the front. But Owen Miles has been waiting in the weeds over these last couple of weeks. Does have one win on the season. Gonna see what he is able to do here in this 59, but overall, trying to get the job done is Owen Miles. And of course, Zachary Fitzwater, last year's Thornton winner, looking for his first win of the season. And Mike Vincent Jr. all the way back in 9th. While Fitzwater will lounge in 4th right now, another battle for this 2nd spot. Fitzwater was behind by 45 points, and trying to do the quick math here. As Miles really wide through the corner, nearly some contact between the 56 and the 59. Those two wheel to wheel, door to door off of 11 and down the front stretch. Those two nearly getting together. Still, they're door-to-door up through the S's. That's going to give Caleb Rose a little bit of time and space. Lewis a little bit squirrely up through the corners, but that Jaguar rock steady for the Motor Rock Jaguar. Trying to see what he can do. Nearly some more touching between the two drivers going in through the carousel. Oh, he was leaning on him. That was very, very dangerous there. Owen Miles nearly taking both him and the 56 car out as these two continue to ferociously battle for this 2nd spot in GT Le Mans. Lewis might have the edge going through the corner. Up the sole they go, up the hill, and through the twisted T heel. Looking for the switchback there is the 59. Trying to catch up with the 56 going up through the corner. Nothing too shabby about it, but Lewis will once again get the spot, and he will have a little bit of time and space over car number 59 as Caleb Rose will continue to hold on to this lead. There's a look at the 78 machine. Mike Vincent Jr. still listed in 9th as these two continue to ferociously fight going up through the corner. Right now, Fitzwater running in 4th. Only put about a 15-point dent into that points lead that Mike Vincent Jr. has built up so far. Actually about a 25-point dent, but a little bit more significant, and I think he heard it, and he's trying to get in this battle here for second. Fitzy just trying to claw back into this points battle. Aguirre Sato a little ways away. Scratch that, Fitzwater with 55 points back, so Aguirre Sato will lose a little bit of ground. Actually, you would gain a tiny bit of ground here, the 78. Again, we still got about 5 3/4 of a race to go here. As Owen Miles will hit the outside wall. Here comes Fitzwater looking to go splitsies. Got around the 59 of Miles. Going to get around the 56. Shutting the door. Going through turn 1 was Lewis. Did he miss his apex just a little bit? He did not. Lewis continued to hold on to that second spot, but Caleb Rose has built up a big gap over these 4 drivers racing for position back in here. Sato, Gavinu, and Egan continue to draw in. We go back in here for GT Daytona and the 8 machine. Daniel Bouchard down the pit lane. It looks like he might have a little bit of damage in the 8 car, and he does. So Bouchard caught up with an incident. There's Matt Lagacy in the 60. I don't know if those two may have tangled. But that is not what you want there for Daniel Bouchard. And he was running in second place at the time of him coming down the pit lane. You'll see what happened on your screen, but that is a tough break for Bouchard, who is going to pit about midway through this opening set of pit stops here. Expect these guys to come down every 27 or 28 laps, so 2, potentially 3, if these guys just decide to try to make it into a 3-stop race. And Bouchard will exit the service area right in front of the GT Le Mans leaders. I can tell you guys what, the points are definitely going to be very jumbled up. Especially for GT Daytona coming out of this race, as Lagacy hangs 10 off the corner. Go back a couple of years to where Al Lagacy, older cousin of Matt Lagacy, was able to win one of the Haas IndyCar Series races here for the Duel at the Glen. I believe that was back in 2016 or 2017. 2 Watkins Glen races were ran on the NRLOA. Feels weird to say that acronym there about 7-8 years later, but hey, racing runs in the Lagacy family. Matt Lagacy doing a bang-up job, cousin of Al and Jack Lagacy, from the Lagacy family of racing here in the NR 2003 universe. Daniel Bouchard right in front of Caleb Rose, and we'll see how Rosie is able to navigate some lap traffic there in that 5 car. But we are about midway through this opening run. Taking everybody a little bit through the field here. Not an official Twisted T race break, as Angel Gutierrez will lead the field through the Twisted T corner, but nonetheless, the whole GTLM field really jumbled up after that opening lap wreck. And the opposite of jumbled up, they're pretty much spread out. And you got Caleb Rose, who's catching up to lap traffic right now. Catching up on the back end of the 8. He's going to be a little bit careful trying to get around the adversary there in the 8 car of Bouchard. These two will be one of the many drivers that'll be racing tomorrow afternoon once again in Concord, Massachusetts, for the final race of the Duncan Week of Speed, the Sam Adams Firecracker 400. In fact, pretty much everybody inside this little group of cars back in here will be strapping in a Cup cars tomorrow afternoon. Nathan Stapleton with an issue in the 97. I believe he was caught up in that opening lap kerfuffle, as he will overdrive the corner, but Stapleton, Matthews, Rose, Bouchard, Lewis, Fitzwater, Andrews, Miles. Yeah, pretty much everybody up in here, up to this trio of drivers. Will be racing tomorrow afternoon as well. It's been an arduous week of racing, to say the least. The fact that I've got enough voice for a 6th race, or longest race of the season, is a miracle in itself, but it's been a fun week. It's been a tiring week. Going up to Canada, then up to going up to Massachusetts, then up to Canada, then back down to Massachusetts, then down here to New York for our most southern race of the week, then back up to Massachusetts tomorrow for a one-day show at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. And we're done. And we got 2 weeks off. Then it's going to be the final 5-race stint for the regular season. Which, again, taking a look at the upcoming schedule here for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. You know, you've got the race tomorrow, the Sam Adams Firecracker 400 at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Then you got the 2 weeks off, and then it's pretty much just 5 straight weeks of competition all the way to the end. You got the M&M's 400 at Dover, the Brickyard 500 at Indianapolis. Then we return here to the Glen in just a couple short weeks, as overdrive in the corner just a little bit there was Lewis to the inside of the 8 of Bouchard. Nearly runs into the wall, but he'll keep it straight. Then after the Glen on the 2nd, we go to Brooklyn, Michigan, to the Michigan International Raceway. Is Zachary Fitzwater looking to shoot the duck there in the 62? It's a very aggressive move from Fitzy, and he's going to pay the price for it, being held up a little bit there by the 8 car. Lewis utilizing the inside track in that 56, and Fitzwater will retuck back in line. Then, of course, the regular season will conclude. The NEX 500 at the Armory Digital Super Speedway, August 15th at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on the North American Sim Racing Network. And, of course, at this point, you know, we'll have broadcasted a couple of races already, but the Fuel Racing League coming to the Enter 2003 online spectrum here for the North American Sim Racing Network, and of course the rest of the MBCS Chase, the Loves American Truck Series. Hopefully some more fuel races for the North American Sim Racing Network. It's a pretty chock full calendar here all the way up until the end of 2025, 2026 beyond here for these guys. But of course, that's then, this is now. We're focusing here on potentially the opening set of pit stops in the next 10 laps or so. Daniel Bouchard, I believe he did pancake the wall coming out of 11 that time around. Didn't hear any contact. All these guys up in here just continue to battle one another for this GTLM. It's not even the GTLM lead, it's the second, it's the penultimate spot for GTLM. Caleb Rose is just saying, screw it, I'm out of here. Whipping his way all the way down the back straightaway here in car number 5, catching up to the 97 of Nathan Stapleton. Those two nose to tail going into the boot. Nathan trying to find a way around, or Caleb trying to find a way around Nathan. Those two friends off of the racetrack, but they're not going to be friendly here going through the toe. Caleb will find his way around car number 97 going into the heel. Nathan's going to fight a little bit on the outside lane. Remember, Stapleton is fighting to stay on the lead lap here. When you've got a much faster GTLM car right behind you, that is the race leader, mind you. It's very, very hard to try to keep serving. Look at that 97, two-tiring it, going through the corner. Oh, Caleb, he somehow keeps it off of the wall. And Nathan Stapleton will come down the service area after that. He was breaking loose coming out of turn 10. We got to get another look at that, and trouble for Aguirre Sato. And it looks like he and Daniel Bouchard have come together. And Bouchard is going to be right in front of the GT Daytona leader. And the 78 car in it as well. He's in front of everybody on the racetrack. Look out. So trouble for the GTLM points leader. He's trying to get down the lane. He gets sideswept by the 71 of Logan Alexander. And the top two drivers in the points standings for GT Le Mans have taken one another out. We get another look at it. It's not what you want. I think it's pretty safe to say that. And a big crash back in here. Those were the leaders for GT Le Mans. Owen Miles caught in it with Dylan Matthews. That was an accident all the way in the back there going into the toe. And Owen Miles, who was running in 5th, will see his day end on the back of a rollback. I told you, this was going to be a very chaotic race. And both the points leaders, in fact, all of the points leaders for both classes, involved in accidents. Aguirre Sato, Mike Vincent Jr., and then Dylan Matthews and Aaron Abel and Brooke Paquette and Colin Bear. Where's Esteban Lasserre in this mess? Because Lasserre could have an opportunity to try to take advantage of this. I don't know where Lasserre is. Actually, there's Lasserre, who's being lapped right now by Caleb Rose. Again, I thought the GTLM points were going to be jumbled up. They've got nothing on GT Daytona. Dylan Matthews destroyed. Aaron Abel destroyed. Brooke Paquette might actually end up getting the points lead if she is able to not die through this next set of corners as she gets lapped by Michael Lewis. Paquette may take the points lead. Esteban Lasserre, if he keeps his nose clean, he could have a chance. You know, Matt Lagasse he's a full race's worth of points behind Dylan Matthews, but Lagasse on the racetrack right now, he's running in 7th. He is running down, he's not exactly running down some of these GTLM guys, but Lagasse right now, just running his own race, but he's got a little bit of company with the 75 and the 72 of Rodriguez and Miller. But my God, what an opening stint to this race that we have had so far. And it's all happened behind Caleb Rose. Nothing you can really do to complain about that. The Lagasse right now would get the win for GT Daytona, but we are not even we are just passing the quarter mark through the Firecracker at the Glen. We're not even through the opening set of pit stops, so we still have a long way to go. Actually, we're a third of the way through the Firecracker at the Glen. So we have got a long way to go in this contest, and still anything can happen, and absolutely anything. We have seen it so far in this contest. Taking a look at everybody that has been knocked out so far, you have got everybody from 31st on the pylon on down, make it 29th on the pylon on down, junked, taken out of this race. We barely have anybody left here in GT Daytona, and GT Le Mans is, you know, it's been interesting to say the least, but all the action has just been in the top couple of drivers up here with Zachary Fitzwater and Michael Lewis continuing to go around. Fitzwater, I thought he was going to come down the pit lane, and Michael Lewis might come down next time by. He got up into that wall, and he is going to lose a lot of time and space to Fitzwater. John Andrews trying to take advantage of that 56 going to the outside wall. Two Jaguars side by side going up through the S's into turn number 2. And Andrews will take third away from Michael Lewis, who will lose 2 spots on 1 lap. And again, Caleb Rose trying to check out to the best of his abilities, and he's got a lot of clean air in front of him. But so does everybody else, and John Andrews looking to make a cavalry charge. He's going to get up to second in that 3 car. Don't look now, but the Waco, Texas native and his ace number 3 Jaguar starting to come alive in the tail end of this opening stint. He's had a really good long run car, and he's going to race against Fitzwater here for a second. He'll get that spot away from Fitzy, who will once again continue to race with Michael Lewis, now for spot number 3. Andrews started this race all the way back in 10th. The 62 and 56 nearly collide through the corner. Fitzwater trying to get down to the inside, and he will. And now transitioning to the inside lane will be Lewis. Fitzwater gets the run off of the corner, just barely avoids crushing that crush panel into the corner. And here we go. Pit stops underway here on lap number 23. Connor Monaco, Alex Lozano, George I. Williams, and Michael Brown among the takers here on lap 23. It was lap 22 for those guys. As now, as Matt Lagasse had come down the pit lane. Oh boy! John Andrews, whatever you do, do not run over the GT Daytona leader for the love of all that is holy. We beg of you, please don't run over the leader. As they say, that would not be very cash money. And taking the race lead will be the 75 of Juan Rodriguez, but he still has to make a pit stop. Matt Lagasse now being lapped down by the leaders. Coming here on lap 23. This 23rd lap is going to be peculiar. Because I believe as Caleb Rose will stay out. Well, now Caleb is able to make it on 2 sets of pit stops, and that pitting on lap 22, that may have hurt Matt a lot. I don't think that he's going to be able to make it on fuel with another pit stop. That's going to be very close here for Lagasse. We're going to have to see when everybody else will come in. I don't know if he's just trying to play a big undercut. So Sarah's down the pit lane, that 66 Rain X Viper. I don't know. This is the point in the race where, after the first 25 laps of chaos, this is just where things reach into a little bit of a bottleneck and not exactly sure what is going to be what until everybody has come down the pit lane for their opening cycle of pit stops as Eric Monaco pounds the wall in turn 11. Alexander Rowe, a little bit off track there in the 88, and he will come. No, he's not going to come down the pit lane this time, but Tatiana Nagora will in that number 22 car. She'll go into the service area, the Shell Pennzoil number 22 Viper. But this will be the moment of truth. Caleb Rose a little bit wide through the corner, and he'll stay out for another lap. And I believe Juan Rodriguez, he indeed also stayed out that last time by. We'll see if Rodriguez will come around this time here in car number 75. But right now, all the GTLM leaders staying out for the most part. Matt Lagasse has made a pit stop, but he's fallen back a little bit in that 60 car. I don't know if Lagasse maybe had a mechanical issue. We'll take a look and see. No, everybody... Well, actually, it was a 28-second pit stop there for Lagasse, so definitely an issue there for Lagasse. And I believe, that was not a scheduled pit stop, so Matt Lagasse will unfortunately likely not be racing for a win. And that is a very tough break for Lagasse, but the good news is he is still in the race as of right now, and we still have a long way to go. Lagasse right now running in 9th. having to make an extended pit stop there in car number 60, and I believe he may have been caught up. And yeah, you can see the damage on the driver's side of that number 60. He was definitely caught up in something or other. I don't know. It was a very, very long pit stop. Typically, we don't see pit stops in the 28-second range. But he's still trucking. He's catching up to the back end of that 12 car. He's got about 22 lap fresher tires than these GTLM leaders have got. But it's Juan Rodriguez who leads the way in the 75. He'll go down to the low side. They're in the Twisted T corner. Blake Beauville will now go up to second. How about this for Blake? He's been quiet so far this season. He's got 2 wins in his career. As Giacomo ran really wide through the corner. He's able to avoid hitting the wall that is jutted out. I believe Giacomo might be coming down the pit lane this time around. He is not, but the 75 of Juan Rodriguez will. So here we go. Right on lap number 26, so right on the money. We're going to see the majority of the field come down the pit lane. We're following with the GT Daytona leader of Juan Rodriguez, and we're going to see if he can have a faster pit stop than 28 seconds. If he can, I think it's safe to say that Matt Lagasse will not retain the lead, and out and away with a good pit stop there for the 75. Also in is the 88, and here we go. The GT Le Mans leaders will hit the service area. Michelle Gavinou was trying to get a lap, led that last time by, but she will take the race lead away. Down the pit lane will come the 5 of Caleb Rose. Some extended time for repairs for the 2 and the 06. Fogelman will be out and away, but here is Caleb Rose in the number 5. Eric Monaco has a jack drop in the 2 car. He is out and away. Same thing with the 088. Caleb Rose, first one off for the jack. John Andrews will be second. Michael Lewis and Zachary Fitzwater side by side for third. Fitzwater a little bit into the Armco, but he will nonetheless get out nice and smoothly, and a little bit of debris falling off of the 56 of Lewis, I believe. He also got into the Armco. Go back in here with Michelle Gavinou. And there's the 75, who has gotten out ahead of Matt Lagasse. Remember, Lagasse had a 28-second pit stop, and he lost a lot of time, and now Rodriguez has the fresher tires opposed to Lagasse. Now we'll see if Gavinou will come down the pit lane this time around. She will. Some more takers back in here, most of them GT Daytona cars. Beauville, Giacomo, Buchanan, and Carson Miller among the takers. Connor Monaco remains out front. Remains on the racetrack, I should say. Getting a little bit, hard on the outside, in the inside wall there. On pit exit was the 99. I tell you, the pit LP files for this track are very weird, and they should feel weird. But Gavinou will get a lap led here, and she is going to be a little bit close coming off the pit lane, and by close, I really don't mean that close at all. We'll see where Gavinou will cycle off in the 12, and it looks like she will go back to being in 5th or 6th would be my guess. I believe Gavinou will cycle out to be 5th, and Bryce Egan will go to 6th. So 71 of Logan Alexander will hit the pit lane. He has got a lap led there in that 71 machine. He will surrender the lead to the 75 of Juan Rodriguez. And now Matt Lagasse under fire from both the 11 and the 1. This is going to be the battle for second back in here. And it will be a 3-car battle, or maybe a 2-car battle if Blake Beauville's not able to get back on the road. Missed the apex. Ooh, Diacomo a little wide through the corner as well. That'll give Lagacy a little bit of time and space. And this might be a good top 5 run here for this 71 car of Alexander, who's able to get it out in front of a lot of drivers back in here. Miller didn't have a good pit stop. Buchanan had a little bit of damage. And trouble for Nathan Stapleton. Looks like just a single car incident. Somebody nearly got around on the front straightaway. That's going to be a really big battle for the lead as Nathan Stapleton backs it into the wall. Esteban Lacer still on the pit lane, but here we go. This is going to be the battle for the race lead for GTLM. And this is the closest battle for the race lead that we have seen here over the last couple of laps. Caleb Rose has dominated the early part of this race here for GTLM, but John Andrews right on the back end of this 5 car. Rose has been really, really good through this technical boots section, but Andrews trying to plant that 3 car into the corner. It has been a long time coming for John Andrews. His last win on the North American Sim Racing Network coming all the way back in 2021. He's trying to get a couple of wins at the MBCS level. He'll have another opportunity to try to do that tomorrow, but he's trying to dethrone Caleb Rose, who has been running on rails so far. Rose has been really, really dominant over these last couple of races. It's really all about the qualifying, and oh boy, he nearly got taken out by Alexander Rowe for the 2nd time this week. And those two, I don't know if how nice these two are going to play after last week, or a couple of days earlier this week, I should say. But both Rose and Andrews will get around Rowe. Rowe trying to look for the slipstream going down the back straightaway. That'll break up that battle by just a little bit. Ooh, that was nearly disaster between Lozano and Reggie Fogelman. Fogelman, last year's Daytona 5 or Daytona 2.4 winner, gets hit hard into the Armco. Tatiana Nagora is around. This is right in front of the leaders. Oh, Fitzy! He runs right into the side, T-bones the 22. And Zachary Fitzwater's day will end in a shower of sparks. Oh, gosh. It's not what you want. We saw that happen live. Fogelman got together with Tatiana Nagora, and we thought the leaders were going to get in it. Zachary Fitzwater, who was running in 3rd, will join Mike Vincent Jr. and Aguirre Sato and Skylar Taylor and Riley Sampson and Bradley Ream, all in the garage area. This was going to be a potential race where Fitzwater could take the points lead, but now the pendulum will swing to Caleb Rose. The top 6 drivers in the point standings for GTLM, all in the garage area. That's Vincent Jr., Sato, Fitzwater, Taylor, Sampson, and Ream. Caleb Rose and Michael Lewis, the 7th and 8th drivers, are still in this race, for now at least. But again, you talk about chaos. There's no track like Watkins Glen when it comes to this kind of chaos. And that was just a hellacious hit there for Fitzwater. Nothing you can really do about that as Rose will navigate his way through lap traffic. Well, we're only halfway through this race. There is still a ton of bent sheet metal to potentially be bent here, but oh goodness, that is just a very, very tough break for Fitzwater. Wrong place, wrong time. That'll give Michael Lewis 3rd and moves everybody up a spot. 5 cars for GTLM. And then it's just GT Daytona back in there with Juan Rodriguez running his race. He's got a fairly big gap over Beauville, Lagasse, and Diacomo. Is Diacomo trying to get around Lagasse? It's been a crazy race when GT Daytona has been the most intact class so far in this contest. 25 of the 42 starters remaining on the racetrack. And, well, Matt Lagasse and Bruno Diacomo, that was the battle for third in GT Daytona. Add 2 more cars to the garage area, and oh goodness. That was on the exit of the carousel, and Matt Lagasse's day will officially end along with Bruno Diacomo. And just as we're praising GT Daytona for having a fairly intact field, 2 of their drivers will take each other out battling for third, and that'll make that battle for the GT Daytona top spot a little less exciting there, as Beauville now all by himself. We still got this battle up in here for GT Le Mans as we approach the midway point through this race, but oh boy. Handful of laps away from the midway point, and it's been a race of attrition. There's no other way to put this contest, and we said at the beginning, this is a very treacherous course. It is tight, it is fast, and there is no room for error. And this is one of those rare courses where all 3.5 miles are trouble spots. We haven't really seen anything in turn 1 yet. But, the back straightaway we've seen issues. The carousel we've seen issues. The boot we've seen plenty of issues. But it's just a victim of circumstance here for a lot of these guys. And right now, the 2 leaders battling each other for GTLM, and they've got a lot of lap traffic to negotiate their way around. Logan Williams first up on the chopping block. They're going to make it 3 wide. Here comes Andrews. This is going to be tight going to 8. This is going to be really tight going through the corner. And John Andrews will take that spot away from Caleb Rose, going up back onto the stock car circuit. Andrews shows the way. He's sandwiched between a couple of Toyotas here as these top 2 guys 5 seconds ahead of one another, or 5 seconds ahead of the leaders, as Diacomo and Lagasse still have not brought their cars down into the service area, but it was the cross flags that time around. And Rose, he's trying to get to the back end of the 3 car. Trying to get up there is that 3 machine, but we're officially halfway home through the Firecracker at the Glen. John Andrews leans just a little bit over Caleb Rose. He's top 2 pulling away for GT Le Mans, and then in GT Daytona, the wild man, the lone man out there in car number 75. Juan Rodriguez leads the way for GT Daytona. We'll be back in just a couple of moments here from the Firecracker at the Glen.
Ever since we hired Dale Jr. at IHOP, breakfast has been moving fast.
All right, more plates of pancakes, gotta serve, table 3, go, go, go!
Huh?
Is that Dale Jr.?
Order for catering? Look, it's pancakes!
Dine-in delivery catering.
Will you sign my pancakes?
Hell no! Get the fuck off the racetrack! You stupid son of a bitch!
And we welcome you back to the 2025 Firecracker at the Glen, race number 7 of the 2025 FMGTC season, here on the North American Sim Racing Network, live from Watkins Glen International. My name is Trey Wright. John Andrews leads the way for GT Le Mans. And right away, if you're just tuning in, you have missed a lot in this contest so far. 22 cars knocked out of this race of the starting 42, and it has been a bloodbath so far in this contest, but John Andrews leads the way by a couple of car lengths over Caleb Rose. That's the battle for GT Le Mans and in GT Daytona. Long ways away out in front is Juan Rodriguez, looking to get that first ever Grand Touring win in that number 75 as he goes down the back straightaway. But this battle has been a fun one to watch here between Caleb Rose and John Andrews ever since that opening set of pit stops, where Andrews was able to get the race lead away from Caleb Rose. But the big story in this race, of course, being the cars that have been knocked out, and rather the cars that are still running. Again, 22 cars remain on the racetrack. 20 cars have been knocked out of this contest so far, and we are definitely going to see a lot more DNFs here in this race over the course of the next half of this contest here, and the next 34 odd laps of the Firecracker at the Glen, presented by Racing Electronics. This battle continuing to rage on here for GTLM as Rose right on the back end of this 3-car going up through the corner. Going into the heel, back up through turn 9, the 2 will run. Rose still on the back end of that 3-car going up through the corner. We'll see what he's going to have in store for him going on to the front straightaway. Both those drivers will have an equal line. John Andrews continues to have a really good run here in that 3-car, but Rose will not go away. He's just a quarter of a second away from that ace number 3 machine. These two just still on top of one another. Meanwhile, Juan Rodriguez has an 8-second lead over Blake Beauville, and he is about a minute behind these guys. Again, GTLM has just been completely decimated so far. 12 cars on the lead lap, about to be 11. Once the 90 machine will be put a lap down by either John Andrews or Caleb Rose, and we could see Caleb Rose knocked out of this contest, and John Andrews knocked out of this contest, or even these 3 could get into lap traffic. These 2 could get into lap traffic, and well, it would really suit how this race has gone. But Andrews looking to snap a long winless drought in that 3-car. Has never won in a Grand Touring car, hasn't won since 2021. Caleb Rose looking to get his 2nd Grand Touring victory this year and his 2nd win this week in this Duncan Week of Speed, the 7-race slate between both the Mission Barbecue Cup Series and the FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship. He's right now being held up by the 90 of Angel Gutierrez, and he's trying to find a way around that Home Depot Corvette. But again, it has been a survival of the fittest. And I want to go back here to Brooke Paquette, who was taken out of contention for the win on lap number 1. We had 2 separate wrecks on the opening lap of the race. We had Justin Williams with a horrifying crash, and then we had a big stack up going into the boot. That was the accident that Paquette was knocked up in. And Paquette, even though she is deep in the field, she is 3 laps down on the pylon. She is running in 10th. You're probably wondering, okay, she's running in 10th out of 21 cars. Why is that important? Everybody in the top 5 for the GT Daytona points has been knocked out of this race, and aside from Brooke Paquette, most importantly, Dylan Matthews and Aaron Abel both knocked out of this event. They were tied for the points lead. Brooke Paquette was only 30 points back. So Brooke is able to keep her nose clean, and hey, maybe some more drivers ahead of her in the point standings, or just on the points pylon in general, take one another out, move potentially being a top 10 spot to maybe even a top 5 day Brooke Paquette could be in position to take this points lead away going into the next race in about a month and a half at the Old Spice High Endurance Raceway in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. But again, this race has been survival of the fittest. And even though she was damaged on lap 1, took her out of the fray. Of course, we saw that fray completely blow up for a lot of these drivers. But Paquette has a very good chance of being the points leader coming out of this race. You know, again, she's running 10th for GT Le Mans right now. You know, Dylan Matthews and Aaron Abel both running towards the tail end of the field. We'll do the points calculations right at the end, but suffice it to say, I think it's a really good chance that she takes the points lead, or hey, even Logan Alexander's quite a bit ways away in that 71, but a third place finish going into the final 5 races of the season, I'd say is pretty solid there for the 71 of Alexander, the Tampa, Florida native, and Blake Beauville doing a bang-up job as well, but that gap is now increased to 7 seconds between Beauville and Juan Rodriguez. Again, he's in his own zip code right now. That is the distance between Rodriguez and the next car on the racetrack. Paquette, who was all the way in the boot, and Rodriguez, who was about a mile and a half behind, literally just running his own race, and his next competition is just going on the back straightaway right now. There is Beauville just entering the back straightaway as the 75 is exiting the backstretch. John Andrews continues to lead here in the 3 car, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Blaise Zebratar in last year's Firecracker at the Glen had a really, really close shot at winning this race, but was caught up in trouble late in the event. John Andrews trying to take that ace number 3 machine, the Gatorade Victory Lane, and trying to rewrite a little bit of history. Rose a second and a half back as he's going to be stuck behind the 99 of Nathan Buchanan for just a brief moment. Buchanan trying to fight a little bit on the outside lane. He's currently running 4th on the pylon. A good day for Buchanan in terms of the points as well, if he's able to keep his nose clean. But again, this is going to be a very, very big jumble up here in the points for both classes, and we saw it last year. I think this was really the race, if memory serves me right. For GT Daytona, I think this is where Michael Brown started his championship run. You know, and the same thing for Mike Vincent Jr., I believe. It's bad that I can't remember who won. It was Eric Monaco who won the championship last year. Mike Vincent Jr. has got the points lead as of right now. He very well could lose it. You know, Caleb Rose, 130 points behind. No, I think everything's going to remain the same, but I think Caleb Rose is definitely going to hack into that points lead a lot, and he very well could be 2nd or 3rd going up to Sturgeon Bay here in the next month and a half, but of course he's got to make it to the end of this race. Not a whole lot of cars left here in either class, but 2 leaders for GT Le Mans continue to be able to find one another and are just not able to stay away from one another, and that's basically what this entire race has been so far. Eleven cars remaining here for GT Le Mans, and now the 75 is down the pit lane here a little bit earlier than anticipated. We expected him to potentially, maybe a little bit later on, in about 8 laps, but Rodriguez will come out of the pit lane, and he's going to lose the top spot to Blake Beauville. I don't know if that stop was scheduled. It certainly did not seem like it was. 15-second pit stop. Not great, but not terrible. Still, though, expect to see these guys come down to the lap 52 mark. So what should be their final set of pit stops here of the afternoon will be the money stop for a lot of these guys. Rodriguez back out here in the 75, and I really don't think that Rodriguez is going to be able to make it to the end here after pitting on lap 42. Remember, he came, I want to say it was lap 25. That is a very, very early pit stop, and it's going to put him at a disadvantage as Caleb Rose pancakes Taco Bell turn 11. That's going to put, yeah, I don't like those numbers for Juan Rodriguez. He's going to be running all the way on empty at the tail end of this race, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough for Rodriguez. I don't know. I'm trying to see. Did he? No, he didn't have any issues. So I don't know what the reasoning for coming down the pit lane was, but that may have been the battle for this race win right there as Caleb Rose knocked down the wall through turn 11. It's that 3-car. It's been dominating the second half of this race. Got the race lead a couple laps before the midway point, and now I think it's safe to say that John Andrews is in prime position to get the most laps led bonus. Fastest lap of the race belonging to Bryce Egan for GT Le Mans. For GT Daytona, Connor Monaco has the fastest lap. Still no word on the fastest 4-tire pit stop of the afternoon. Of course, you'll see all of that at the end as Blake Beauville a little bit off the road. So two leaders about to pass one another. A little bit wide through the corner goes the 3-car. Not nearly as wide that time around for Rose. But this is how long this race is. As we've got 25 laps to go in the Firecracker at the Glen. And usually it's at the end of the race where the two leaders will pass one another. But no, it's at the 2/3 of the way mark through this contest. Now John Andrews trying to find a way around Blake Beauville. Down the back straightaway, the two will rumble. Nice, easy pass. I don't think Beauville is going to try to fight back a little bit because that'll give him one less lap to worry about. Right behind that 3 machine. But Logan Alexander is indeed chugging along. Pretty solid so far here for Logan Alexander, who is 2 seconds back of Blake Beauville. That's something that we're definitely going to have to take a look at here, is those closing intervals between those two drivers. But Beauville right now being shown as the race leader. Look at this gaggle of cars back in here. That's Sebastian Palmer that has had a really rough day there in that 20 machine. Posted up on the outside of the 8 and the 12 cars. Bryce Egan has done a fairly good job. Right now running in the 5th spot in the car that won last year's race here at Watkins Glen, piloted by Jaden Russell. Russell was the odds-on favorite to win the championship, but the wheels unfortunately fell off at Riverside, the final race of the season. And Bryce Egan, his rookie campaign, has not really fared well. This is that Army Black Knights best run of the season so far here in 5th, and Egan has just been horrendously inconsistent there in that 8 car. You know, his best finish of the season coming last week at Most Sports in 12th. So this is absolutely the best run that 8 car has had so far here in 2025, as Rose trying to get around this 71 car. the corner. Those two will run side by side. And John Andrews beginning to check out of things here, going up through the corner. But now when does Andrews come down the pit lane? We expect on lap 52 will be the lap that Andrews will service his car. Alexander Rowe has made his final stop of the afternoon. But that $1 million question is going to be, can Juan Rodriguez stretch it on fuel? And the answer is going to be a resounding no. Rodriguez having an issue there in the 75, and it was the fuel system of all things going south. So now that question will not be answered, and that is going to put that 11 machine in the driver's seat for this race here in GT Daytona. Blake Boville now not out front based on strategy. He is officially the front runner for this contest. That is such a tough break for Juan Rodriguez, and it has been that kind of year for Juan here for both of these series. He is last in points for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, and he is third to last for GT Daytona. 2025 has not been a kind year for Juan Rodriguez, and that pretty much summed it up. Was trying to run the race on a fuel strategy, and the fuel tank of all things fails at the furthest point from the pit lane, and not what you want. And he will strap into a cup car tomorrow afternoon, and just trying to ease the pain a little bit, hanging two. Off of that corner there was Blake Boville, and that's going to open things up a little bit for Caleb Rose, just trying to get around that 11 car, but John Andrews, he's got all the clean air in the world out in front of him. We'll see what he's going to be able to do as he's going to try to set sail. Andrews will now catch up to the 31 of Brooke Paquette. We approach the final little bit here of this contest. We're going to see what that 75 team is going to be able to do on the pit lane if they're going to try to be able to fix that car. Logan Williams is down in the service area. He will be making his final stop, and he's got a little bit of damage on the back end of that Muscle Milk Jaguar. He's been able to weather the storm so far in this race. Andrews will get around Paquette to put her another lap down, but if Paquette is able to log some laps, and I don't know, they might be able to patch that 75 car up. You know, fuel leak, we saw it with Braden Perez yesterday in Boston. Although they were able to patch that car up, and he was able to do one more lap before going around. Paquette will gain a lap there on the 75, and we'll see. Here we go. Caleb Rose on lap number 48. He's going to make his final stop. He was saying, you know what? I'm going to have some fresher rubber here. I'm going to come down a little bit earlier than everybody else. And by earlier than everybody else, he is a lone man. Coming down here in car number 5, Juan Rodriguez will return to the field, losing a lot of time in the 75. He will fall from 5th all the way down to 9th, it looks like, in front of Brooke Paquette and Esteban Lasser. And that is an extended stop for Caleb Rose. He is out and away, about 18 seconds on the gun there for Caleb Rose. Hits the wall just a little bit in the 5, but he'll be out and away to make his final pit stop with 21 laps to go in the Firecracker at the Glen. George I and Monaco are in the service area as well. Monaco with a little bit of repairs to the tail end of that number 21 Harley-Davidson Mustang. He'll be out and away. Same thing with Dano Georgi. He'll get some repairs. That Budweiser Camry out and away as well. Georgi right now looking for a top 10 run here for GT Daytona, GT Le Mans, I should say. He is currently towards the tail end of the field. He's up in 7th right now for GT Le Mans, so a pretty good run so far for him. But here we go, and gaggle of cars right in front of the remaining leaders. That's Paquette, who nearly jammed up the GTLM leaders. But this has been the dominant car of the day. John Andrews down onto the service area. In fact, both leaders down here on lap number 49. And this is the money stop for all of these guys. Andrews out and away in car number 3. And he is going to have a long lead over that 5 machine of Caleb Rose. Remember, Rose had to come down the pit lane to repair some damage as well. So that'll be a really good pit stop for John Andrews. But everybody else will elect to stay out an extra lap. They're led by Michelle Gavineau in that Granger number 12. Michael Lewis is also in there. Same thing. Logan Williams is a lap down. So it's these top 2 Jaguars who stayed out an extra lap and are trying to run the strategy game and look for a little bit of an overcut. Andrews right now just entering the boot section, right behind Nathan Stapleton, who has held him up a couple of times so far. We'll see if these top 2 will come down the pit lane this time by. I imagine that they would. Gutierrez has made his final pit stop. We'll see what Michelle Gavineau will do coming around turn 11. Gavineau will come down the pit lane. Michael Lewis will stay out an extra lap. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it will indeed pay off. And here comes Gavineau down the pit lane here in car number 12. Michael Lewis will lead the way. We'll see where Andrews will come out. There is John Andrews. He is pedaling that number 3 car. He is going to get all the way out in front here of that 12 machine. Gavineau will cycle back to 2nd, it looks like. We'll see if Caleb Rose is able to be on the back end of this 8 car. A little bit of bump drafting going down the front straightaway. Gavineau will get out to 2nd ahead of both Rose and Egan. But John Andrews on his final pit stop looks like he is absolutely good to the go. Staying out an extra time as well was Logan Alexander in the 71. We'll see where Blake Beauville runs in comparison. Beauville just now entering the carousel and going up through the boot is that 71 car. And if I'm Logan Alexander, I'm coming down the pit lane right here and right now, because your adversary just going into the boot as of right now when you're exiting it. I imagine Michael Lewis will come down the pit lane. No, he's going to stay out another lap. Same thing with the 71. I'm very surprised that Michael Lewis is staying out. I'm even more surprised that Logan Alexander stayed on an extra lap as well. Paquette down the service area once again. John Andrews, a little bit squirrely coming off of turn 11. But he is good to the going so far in this contest as he gets around Sebastian Palmer. Gets to the inside of Palmer, who will put the left side tires off on the rumble strips. Gavineau has 1 lap fresher tires than John Andrews, but Andrews pulling away right now. We'll see what the interval will be this next time around. But right now, John Andrews in the catbird seat to win this race, and Blake Beauville on the back straightaway as the 71 car is through the boot. And, you know, if I'm not Logan Alexander, I'm pitting this time, because this is going to be a really, really fun race to watch here for GT Daytona. I think that he might have a chance over Blake Beauville. You know, Beauville just now entering the boot. The 71 is going through the corner. We'll see if Michael Lewis will come down. This time around, he will continue to stay out. And so will the 71. I'm trying to think. We know that Michael Lewis cannot make it. I'm just trying to remember if the 71 can make it or not, but you've got a good chance. I would pit. Caleb Rose has gotten around Michelle Gavineau. That's for the 2nd spot, as they are still Long ways away from John Andrews, Sebastian Palmer will make his final stop. Michelle Gavineau back down the pit lane for the 12 car. Something amiss on the Granger number 12 Jaguar. He is back down the pit lane for a second time on this run, and the engine went. So Michelle Gavineau will see her day end with a mechanical failure. We'll see what the official cause of death for that car was here in a few moments, but that is absolutely gut-wrenching. She was running in third. Make that second at that time. And here we go. Andrews nearly clipping the 75 of Rodriguez, and we got to see if Michael Lewis will finally come down the pit lane this time around. Lewis on the inside track. He will continue to stay out. And I think the 71, Logan Alexander wanted to come down the pit lane that time around, but I think it was a little too hot going through the corner. And Gavineau is officially taking it behind the wall, I believe. Nope, she's back on the track. Whatever it was for the 12, I don't know if it was maybe an overheating issue and they put too much tape on there, but she's back on track. She'll fall down to 5th after that. It's a little weird, but nonetheless, hey, there's barely anybody left on the lead lap for GT Le Mans. So it's not really that big of an ask. Michael Lewis continuing to stretch out this strategy a ton here in this 56. And I think that he is banking as somebody has gone off course coming out of the corner. And it looks like it was Connor Monaco that got spun around there in the 21. I believe he got in there with the 20 of Sebastian Palmer. Judging by those two cars having a little bit more damage than we last saw them with. Will Lewis come down the pit lane? Oh, hanging it off the track that time was the 71, and Michael Lewis will finally surrender the race lead. John Andrews all the way around. He will say thank you very much for the top spot. Caleb Rose still miles away in that number 5. And John Andrews, the dominant car of the second half of this race, will re-inherit the lead with 15 laps to go here from Watkins Glen. Caleb Rose will go to 2nd. Bryce Egan up to 3rd. Beginning to look a lot like last year's race with a lot of the front runners as Michelle Gavineau falling back a lot, and Michael Lewis will go from 1st to 4th up here in the 56 with not a whole lot of drivers left in this field. I think this battle for 2nd is going to be very interesting between these two drivers. If Bryce Egan is not going to wreck out of the event, I think it's safe to say that Bryce he's looking for a podium finish. Would be the best finish of his career so far. And when does a 71 car come down the pit lane? Because I'm trying to... If he stays out again this time around, we got to see if he's already come down the pit lane, because I don't think that he has. I really don't think, especially given all the space that he's got over that 11, he stays out again. And again, we got to take a look at this. You know, trying to see if he has come down already. Trying to get this mouse over here is a pain in the rear end, but oh, for God's sake, trying to see if he's come down the pit lane already. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see anything there for Logan Alexander. that he has come down the pit lane or not, and he is going to be caught by the GTLM leader right here. So again, looks like for the second time in this race, the two leaders will race against one another, but the longer that that 71 car stays out, the more that Blake Beauville is going to gain into this mess here. Because Beauville, that last time around, was about 10 seconds off of where that 71 car is, so he is gaining in a lot. The more that Logan Alexander stays out here, the worse he's going to really make it for himself, because Beauville is chugging along. The two leaders will be side by side, and this time around, Logan Alexander will finally come down the pit lane. Where is Blake Beauville? He is all the way back there in car number 11, and I really didn't like that strategy there for Logan Alexander. But he is down the pit lane, and he will be taking 4 fresh BF Goodrich tires. Blake Beauville will come around turn number 11, and he will inherit the race lead. Coming onto the front straightaway, Blake Beauville back out front for GT Daytona. And safe to say, it's pretty much a ghost town up in here in Watkins Glen, New York, working on lap number 56 of 68 as Esteban Lasser continues to try to tinker with that Dodge Viper. Looks like, trying to see where Michael Brown is. Brown back in there in the 25, and looks like the 71 will fall back into the 4th position. Still plenty of race to go. We still could very well see some more contact, some more sheet metal banged up, and potentially even another lead change here in this race. But it's John Andrews that leads the way in the 3 car. He's got a 13-second lead over either Bryce Egan or the 5 of Caleb Rose. Those two side by side. This is really the biggest battle that we've got here on the track so far. Egan looking for his career best finish here in this 8 machine. Is the inside of Caleb Rose. Overdrives the corner just a little bit. Trying to get to the inside. Rose will go wide. Those two, a little close for comfort there. But they're able to remain side by side, going down the front straightaway. Who's going to be the first one to break? It'll be Egan on the inside lane. As to still door to door going up through the S's, and Bryce Egan will take second away from Caleb Rose. Those two battling have added another second between them and John Andrews, who is all the way up through the carousel. He's through the boot. Catching up to last year's champion of Eric Monaco, who has not had a good 2025 season so far. Monaco right now in that 2 machine, just trying to stay ahead of the game. But he is 1 lap down, trying to avoid going 2 laps down. But I believe it would still be a good top 10 effort there for Eric Monaco, because 1st through 5th right now are Andrews, Rose, Egan, Michael Lewis, and Michelle Gavineau. And talk about Michelle Gavineau and the recovery that she had. An engine failure there for the 12 that brought her down the pit lane. They're able to fix that car back up. She was able to remain on the lead lap. She's still she's still way ahead of Andrews right now. So, I think it's safe to say that Gavineau will definitely stay on the lead lap here, and hopefully we'll get a top 5 run here for GT Le Mans. Gutierrez is 6th. Dano Georgi runs in 7th, Logan Williams in 8th, and right now running in 9th. Yeah, so it will be a top 10 effort for Eric Monaco. So he'll go down another lap in the 2 car. Again, it's been a battlefield. It's been a bloodfest. It's been a bloodbath. That's what Watkins Glen is here for these Grand Touring cars. When you've got the 86 of Justin Williams, the guy who's starting on the inside of row 2, when he goes pirouetting on lap number 1 in one of the first corners, you know that this is going to be a crazy race. You know, it was a violent crash, but it's kind of a telltale of what we expect here with these Grand Touring cars whenever they come to the Glen. essentially the same thing as the Daytona 2.4. It is a crown jewel race for a reason. It is a fan favorite race for a reason. And, it's very tough to win this race. It's all about survival. It's the second longest race on the calendar, aside from the Daytona 2.4. And those races are the hardest to win. They're the hardest to win for a reason, because it's all about keeping alive, staying alive, keeping yourself out of trouble. It's a big part of the reason why this is one of my favorite races to run. That and the Daytona 2.4 are my two favorite races to run here. For not only the FMGTC, but just on the channel in general. I've really come to appreciate, class racing and Grand Touring racing here over the last year and change of doing this. Saw what we were doing with the Daytona 2.4. It's like, we're going to make this into an actual series in 2024, and in 2025, things are going strong. Right now, in the tail end of what has been another exciting season of FMGTC competition, as Andrews is to the inside of his Jaguar teammate of Logan Williams. Williams in that 6 car, trying to find his way around that 3, but he will go a lap down. A back marker on the end of the field here for GTLM, but still a good top 10 run for Logan Williams, considering him staying alive. He does have a little bit of damage on the tail end of somebody into the outside wall. That's Eric Monaco that overcooked it going into the corner. Ron Rodriguez now under fire from the second place cars. Egan a little bit wide through the corner. That might set up a good run here for Caleb Rose down the front straightaway. But under 10 laps to go here from Watkins Glen. Andrews with a 15-second lead over the 8 and the 5 of Caleb Rose and Bryce Egan. And back in here, Blake Boville has a big lead over Nathan Buchanan, who's in a battle for second place right now with the 72 of Carson Miller. But don't look now. We could have a 3-way battle for second here for GT Daytona, because Logan Alexander, with about 5-6 laps fresher rubber than everybody else, is coming into that battle. We'll focus on that here in a little bit. It has been John Andrews who has been the dominant car the second half of this race. Caleb Rose up to third right now. As those two side by side, that's the side by side battle for second. Carson Miller looks to the inside of the 99, went the long way around that time by. Buchanan trying to hold off the 72. Those two through the corner, down through the toe, and Miller just trying to get to the inside of that Menards number 99. Buchanan starting in 4th. Miller started this race deep in the field in 13th. So he's looking for a good podium run. He would love to finish this race in 2nd. A little bit wide through the corner. Hops the curb just a little bit. Remains side by side and really overcooking it, but still able to keep his line was Nathan Buchanan. That's been a really good battle up in here. This is for second with 8 laps to go here from Watkins Glen. Brooke Paquette will put her car into the inside retaining wall for just a little scrape. She will be the points leader coming out of this deal. I think Esteban Lacerra is also going to have a decent run as well. You know, Lacerra, where is he? In the 66. I'm surprised he's not on the pit lane again. But Esteban has been running a solid race so far. He's actually ahead of Brooke Paquette. 21st on the pylon. I'm trying to see what he is for GT Daytona. running in 10th. So Lasserre has indeed gotten around the 31. But I believe that Paquette is definitely going to be the points leader coming out of this deal. Again, she's still got to stay alive. You know, even though she is the last car on the racetrack, you know what? Brooke could still, she could wreck out of this race. She could just pull her car behind the wall and still finish it, and she'll get the points lead as of right now, but I think she's hoping for one more final incident between a couple of these drivers. But, you know, this has been a lot more physical of a race than we had last year. You know, especially in the first half of this race. I don't think we've seen, especially that opening lap, I don't think we've seen an opening lap like that in quite some time. Here at Watkins Glen, these guys continue to fight for position back in here. This is the battle for second between Egan and Rose. Rose was 130 points behind Mike Vincent Jr. coming into this afternoon. He did get a lot of laps led. And I think he'd be looking for 5 more points over Bryce Egan. He's trying to get around that 8 car, but I think if Egan... Right now, I think he's content with running in second. But again, we've got 5 laps to go, 6 laps to go, and something still could happen. You know, we have seen it several times, the leader being taken out. We've seen it a couple of times at the tail end of races. We've even seen it once or twice on the final lap. You know, especially a little bit of beating and banging there. Andrews to the inside of 3 wide, trying to get around a pair of GT Daytona cars. That's Lasserre and Alexander Rowe. He's going to slip in between those 2 yellow and black Vipers. Real good move there from John Andrews. Was able to get around the 88 and the 97. Now can he get around the 66 before going into the heel? He indeed will get a ledge down to the low side. Esteban is going to try to fight on the other side there in that 66. He's going to have the preferred line going up through 9. Andrews trying to get that straight line speed going through the corner. He'll have the preferred line going up through turn 11. Andrews off the rumble strips, coming around to 5 laps to go. This time by Lasserre, nearly running into him. They touch and they stay straight. I tell you what, 1 more inch to the right there for Esteban Lasserre. To the right for Lasserre. And we would have had a really, really good battle here for the win for GT Le Mans, because that would have been the end of the afternoon for John Andrews. Believe Andrews, with 5 laps to go, will indeed catch up to the 21 and the 43 before this is all said and done. Blake Beauville continues to have about a straightaway length over the 72. Carson Miller will hang 2 off of the corner. That's 71. Talk about a strategy. You know, Logan Alexander stayed out, surrendered the lead, but he might not get the win, but he is indeed going to get second. He's got the fresher rubber over Carson Miller. Beauville, you know, he's in his own zip code right now. I don't think he's going to catch up to the 75. I don't think the 71 is going to catch up to the 11 car either. He's got a straightaway over this 3-car battle for second up in here for GT Daytona. The 99, the 72, a little bit of contact going up through the carousel as Buchanan will take that spot away from Miller, who will fall back from second to fourth. That is going to be a battle to keep tabs on here. And John Andrews just continuing to show the way. He's got to get around a little bit more lap traffic. With 4 laps to go here in the Firecracker at the Glen. And I got a real bad feeling that we're not done wrecking yet, that we're going to have some more bent up sheet metal, some more feelings hurt, and we're going to have one final twist here in what has been a topsy-turvy Firecracker at the Glen. Carson Miller overdriving turn 10. Does he hit the apex through 11? He will. So does the 99 as those two down on the front straightaway. But right now, that gap between the 71 and the 11. Beauville not even on the screen. Beauville is up on the back straightaway, so I don't think, especially with 3 laps to go here, or 4 laps to go here, coming around to 3, and everybody is a lap down to John Andrews. I really don't think that Blake Beauville is going to surrender this lead at all. That time around, Beauville 2 minutes back, and he had a 13-second lead over Logan Alexander. I'll have to keep tabs on that. 3 to go here from Watkins Glen. The lap traffic on the horizon. Angel Gutierrez will come down the pit lane. He did not make his final pit stop, and I believe he got in the outside wall just a little bit there in car number 90. So he's trying to repair some damage to that Home Depot Chevrolet Corvette. He'll be strapping back into the stock car tomorrow afternoon, looking for his second win of the season. Won at Willow Springs at the Cup level. Don't believe that Brooke Paquette will be put another lap down here. But again, this could be a very big gaggle of cars for John Andrews once he catches up to all these guys. I don't know if he's going to catch up to Georgi and Gavino. Gavino has lost a lot of time in the 12 car. She's going to be passed by the 02, but she is a lap ahead of Georgi. She might be passed by the 21 here. Now the gap between the 11 and the 71 down to 11 seconds, but I don't think there's going to be enough time. Sticks high in the air this time around. John Andrews through the corner. So the 2 to go mark from the flag stand. Got about 7 miles remaining here in the Firecracker at the Glen. He's got to navigate around a couple of lap down cars here in that 3 machine. Trying to snap a long winless streak here on the North American Sim Racing Network. The last time that he won here on the channel wasn't even known as the North American Sim Racing Network. That was back in the NASCAR Nerd 34 days. That's how long it's been since John Andrews has gone to Gatorade Victory Lane. The battle for second quelling just a little bit. It looks like Bryce Egan might have that battle. But here we go. That battle could end up playing dividends because John Andrews has ran into lap traffic. He's got a 15-second lead, so he's got a little bit of time to burn. 2 of the guys that are behind him. Gets to the inside of Alex Lozano, last year's winner of this race for GT Daytona. Lozano will slot back in line. Blake Beauville was still a good lead over the 71. And here we go. Andrews in a turn 11 for the penultimate time. White flag is out. 1 more lap around Watkins Glen International. And John Andrews trying to get around a lot of lap down traffic. So the inside of Connor Monaco. And you've got 15 seconds to burn. And a lot of picks in between yourself and the other leaders who are just now taking the white flag. But Andrews up through the S's, and he is flogging it right now in that 3 car. He'll get to the inside of Michelle Gavinu. Dano Georgi right in front of him. Taking a look back in here at Blake Beauville, who has just now taken the white flag as well. Beauville shaking that car a little bit around, but he is able to take the white flag here. Don't think there's any sort of issue there on that 11 car, but here's Andrews down to the inside of Dano Georgi through the boot for the final time. Getting around 4 lap down cars here in a single lap, and it's nothing but pay dirt ahead for this 3 machine. Through the Twisted T heel for the final time. up through turn number 9. No comers out back, no comers out front. Onto the stock car circuit once again. Through turn 10 and approaching the final corner of turn number 11. It's his first win on the channel since 2021 off of turn 11. John Andrews wins the Firecracker at the Glen. Andrews gets the job done for GT Le Mans. The battle back in here for second will go to Bryce Egan. His best career finish for GT Le Mans. Caleb Rose will get third. Michael Lewis will get fourth. And back in here for GT Daytona, Blake Boville is about to make some history here in that 11 car. 2 wins last season. He'll come through turn number 11. Off the final corner, 3rd win of his career. Blake Boville will get the job done for GT Daytona. Able to gain a straightaway there was Logan Alexander in the 71. He will take second. It's a furious fight for third back in here, but Carson Miller will get the best of Nathan Buchanan. And that'll do it. John Andrews will go to Gatorade Victory Lane here for GT Le Mans, trying to pull up how many days it has been since John Andrews has gone to Gatorade Victory Lane. It has been quite some time. Gotta go all the way back to 2021. You can find that playlist here. Thank you, Alex, for giving us. You got to go all the way back over 3 years ago, October 30th, 2021. It has been quite some time, but John Andrews finally back in Gatorade Victory Lane here in car number 3. Take a look at the official standings and how many cars finished this race. Only 4 cars were on the lead lap. Michelle Gavinu ended up finishing this race 1 lap down, and John Andrews, Bryce Egan, Caleb Rose, your podium for GT Le Mans. Blake Boville, Logan Alexander, and Carson Miller, your podium for GT Daytona. A look back at all the cars that were knocked out of this race. 20 cars ending up on a rollback and ending up in the garage area after a physical race here at Watkins Glen International. Safe to say that this one was certainly our bloodiest race of the 2025 campaign. But nonetheless, 6 races are down this week. We've whittled it down to 1 final race. It has been, no other way to put it, it's been a hell of a week of racing so far here on the North American Sim Racing Network. We've had 4 Cup races, and we've got both of our FMGTC races done here. And John Andrews will be strapping into a Cup car tomorrow, able to get the job done. And Blake Boville with his 3rd win here of his FMGTC career. Gets his first win of the season as well. There for that 11 car of Blake Boville. Glad to see him go to Gatorade Victory Lane. But that'll do it here from Watkins Glen. Congratulations once again to John Andrews and Blake Boville for winning the Firecracker at the Glen. Tomorrow is the final race of the Duncan Week of Speed. The Sam Adams Firecracker 400 airs at noon Eastern, live from the Coca-Cola Super Speedway for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, right here exclusively on the NESRN. We'll see y'all on the Grand Touring Circuit in about a month and a half time up in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, for the Old Spice Wisconsin Grand Prix at the Old Spice High Endurance Raceway on August 14th at 4 o'clock Eastern, right here once again on the NESRN. Thank you once again for tuning in to today's coverage of the FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship. Here are your point standings after Race 7 of the 2025 season of the FMGTC, and from Watkins Glen, New York. On behalf of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you tomorrow up in Massachusetts once again for the final race of the Duncan Week of Speed.